Welcome to the True Assassins podcast. Buckle up because today we're diving headfirst into the shadowy world of assassination.
Ooh, sounds intense.
It is. We're taking inspiration from Orlando Madsbrine's True Kill.
Okay, I know that one. Full of some seriously messed up stories.
Right. And if you're into unraveling complex stuff and maybe uncovering a few unsettling surprises along the way, well, you're in the right place. We've got two wildly different scenarios lined up today.
I'm intrigued. Lay it on me.
First, we have the meticulous chemist. Think, like a mastermind operating in the lab.
I can already see the beakers and bubbling concoctions.
Exactly. And then we'll switch gears completely and explore the cold, calculating world of the astronaut.
Whoa, that's a huge leap. From the lab to outer space.
You got it. It's all about the contrast. Different methods, different mindsets, but both equally chilling.
Okay, you've definitely piqued my curiosity. Let's get this show on the road. Where do we start?
Let's kick things off with story number 1, Lethal Boomerang. The central figure here is Dr. Evelyn Heirs. Now, picture this. A chemist. Brilliant, obviously, but with a seriously dark side.
I'm getting a mad scientist vibe already.
You're not wrong. But Heirs was more than just your average chemist. This woman was a master of poisons. We're not talking about your run-of-the-mill toxins here.
So what made her so special?
She specialized in poisons that were completely undetectable, like that they could mimic natural causes of death, a stroke, a heart attack, you name it.
Whoa, that's terrifying. So she was basically a ghost in the system.
Exactly. And True Kill really digs deep into this idea. She was able to basically exploit the blind spots of forensic investigations. She knew how to make it look like the body just shut down naturally.
It's fascinating in a really disturbing way, using her knowledge to literally erase any trace of foul play. It's like she weaponized science.
Totally. And the book makes it clear she wasn't exactly working with, the most upstanding citizens. We're talking about clients who were, shall we say, motivated to see certain people out of the picture sooner rather than later.
So like greedy spouses hoping to speed up an inheritance?
Bingo. Heirs provided a service that was, well, on the surface, untraceable. And for people desperate enough, it was probably pretty tempting.
It's like she was selling an illusion of a consequence-free murder. But we all know how those usually turn out.
Oh, yeah. And that's where things take a truly ironic turn with Dr. Heirs. Ready for this? This woman, who dedicated her life to crafting these undetectable poisons, she ends up becoming a victim of her own brilliance.
No way! You're kidding, right?
Nope. It's straight out of a classic horror movie. Talk about poetic justice.
I can't even imagine. Wait, so how did it happen?
It was a lab accident, according to True Kill. A simple miscalculation involving a brand new toxin she was working on.
So she just accidentally poisoned herself?
Pretty much. The book says there was this faint floral scent, the sweet perfume of her latest undetectable concoction. And suddenly, the air in her lab became lethal.
That's so creepy. Her own creation turning on her.
And the way Madsbrine describes her physical breakdown, it's brutal. The tingling sensation, struggling to breathe, her body basically betraying her as she tries to reach for a respirator.
That's intense. So her own poison was working against her the same way she designed it to work on others.
Exactly. The book calls it a quiet fade into oblivion, which is precisely what she wanted for her victims.
And it makes you wonder, did she ever actually think about what she was inflicting on those people? Or was she just so detached from the reality of it all?
Right. And in those final moments, True Kill says her thoughts weren't about remorse or anything like that. She was preoccupied with practical stuff, client files, evidence to destroy, even wondering if she had a will.
Wow, that's cold. Even facing death, her mind was still on her business.
It's like her whole life was so intertwined with her work. Even her death became just another problem to solve.
A final transaction.
Yeah. And here's the ultimate kicker. You ready for this?
Hit me with it.
The one thing she was so obsessed with, making her poisons undetectable, that's what ultimately sealed her fate.
How?
Because this new toxin, the one that killed her, it was unique. It only existed in her lab. So when they found her body...
He knew exactly what had happened.
Exactly. A poison that was supposed to be invisible, untraceable, it became the most incriminating evidence imaginable.
That is so ironic. It's like the universe had a sense of humor.
Right. And True Kill ends her story with this haunting image. Heirs, her eyes fixed on the flask containing her fatal creation, her lab, her sanctuary, becoming her tomb.
That's heavy. A lonely end for someone who dealt in death.
Definitely. Okay, so ready for a change of scenery? From a lab to the vast emptiness of space.
Lead the way. I'm ready for anything at this point.
Our next tale, Space Drift, centers on Commander Alexei Volkov. Now imagine this. He's presented as the ultimate professional astronaut. You know, the poster boy for space exploration.
Okay, so far, not so scary.
Right. But under that perfect exterior, there was a very dark secret. Volkov's method of assassination was as cold and calculated as you can get.
What, did he, like, beam people into the sun or something?
Not quite. It was simpler, but just as chilling. He would stage these accidents during space missions.
Accidents. In space. There's no such thing as an accident in space, is there?
Well, that's what he wanted everyone to think. He'd use the airlock to eliminate his targets, making it look like a malfunction.
So basically, he was ejecting people into the vacuum of space and making it look like a technical error.
Exactly. It's like the perfect crime scene. No witnesses, no forensic evidence to speak of, just a body drifting into the endless void.
That's so messed up. Talk about covering your tracks.
In this particular story, his target was a scientist. Madsbrine describes him as, like, kind of a bumbling guy who stumbled upon a formula that the Russians wanted.
It's classic espionage.
Yeah, but with a seriously brutal twist. And here's the kicker. This wasn't Volkov's first rodeo. He'd pulled this off 3 times before.
3 times, and no one suspected a thing.
Nope. He was good. Like, really good. Each time, he played the role of the grieving comrade, the heartbroken friend.
That's so disturbing. He was basically a serial killer operating in the shadows of the space program.
Exactly. And it makes you wonder, how did he get away with it for so long?
Right. Someone must have noticed something.
Maybe. But let's get back to this mission. Picture it. The airlock opens, the scientist is about to be pushed out into the blackness of space, and then something unexpected happens.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. What went wrong?
Volkov's hand slips, just for a second. But it's enough. The book says it was sweat, maybe a flicker of doubt, who knows?
A moment of humanity, or maybe just nerves.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, that tiny slip triggers a chain reaction. The outer lock closes as planned, but the inner lock, the one that's supposed to keep Volkov safe inside the spacecraft, it malfunctions.
No way.
Yeah, suddenly he's the one trapped outside, staring into the abyss.
Talk about karma. The hunter becoming the hunted.
And you know what makes this even crazier? The scientist, the guy who was moments away from certain death, he manages to claw his way back inside the spacecraft.
Wow, what are the odds of that?
Talk about a close call. And can you imagine what Volkov must have been thinking at that moment?
I bet he was freaking out.
Totally. He's trapped outside, his target is safe inside, and there's nothing he can do. True Kill describes his frantic pleas over the comms, begging to be let back in.
Did the scientist let him back in?
Nope. The book says the scientist just stared at him, his face hardening, and then he deliberately turned away.
I can't say I blame him.
Right. It's like this incredibly powerful moment of rejection. The scientist chose survival, and who can fault him for that?
And Volkov.
Volkov's fate was sealed. His oxygen ran out, his screams swallowed by the vacuum.
A lonely death.
And here's a chilling detail. Before he died, Volkov sent a fake message back to base, claiming there was a malfunction. He went to his grave maintaining the lie.
Wow. That's dedication.
It also shows how deep he was in this world. And you know what? True Kill suggests that the reason Volkov became a target himself was that he knew too much. He'd become a liability.
So he was both an assassin and a loose end.
Exactly. It's like this twisted circle. In this line of work, no one is truly safe.
Not even the guy pulling the trigger, so to speak.
Right. And the book ends his story with this poignant image. Volkov drifting in space, Earth just a tiny blue marble in the distance. All his missions, all his accomplishments, suddenly meaningless in the face of his own mortality.
It's like a cosmic wake-up call. We're all just specks of dust in the grand scheme of things.
Totally. And in the end, his death was just as untraceable as the deaths he orchestrated.
A fitting end, I guess.
So there you have it. 2 wildly different killers, 2 chilling tales of death and deception. And what really stands out, to me at least, is the way their own methods ultimately backfired.
Right. It's like they were both undone by their own cleverness, the silence and the undetectable poisons in one case, the vastness of space in the other.
And they both wanted to control death. But in the end, death controlled them.
It makes you think about the consequences of our actions. You can try to cover your tracks, but eventually something catches up to you.
Absolutely. And in both these stories, it wasn't the law that brought them down. It was something bigger, something almost poetic.
Like fate. Or karma.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, if someone is so obsessed with erasing all traces of their actions, are they really leaving no mark on the world? Or are they creating a different kind of mark, a darker one?
That's a question I'm going to be pondering for a while.
Me too. Well, we hope this deep dive into the dark side of human nature, inspired by Orlando Madsbrine's True Kill, has been both informative and, well, maybe a little bit terrifying. Don't forget to rate and follow the True Assassins podcast for more addictive cloak and dagger stories.